Hey there, everybody. Welcome to part three of our deep drive baseball tutorial. It's a great game that uses a batter card, a pitcher card, and a ballpark card at times. And the score is 4-2. Actually, yep, the score is 4-2. Atlanta at New York at Citi Field in New York. It's Jacob DeGrom versus Mike Soroka. So it's a little bit of a pitcher's duel, a little bit more on the side of the Braves than DeGrom has been basically tagged for a couple of home runs, one by Freeman, another one by the catcher Brian McCann. So let's get started. The way you play this game is you roll 2d10, well, actually 3d10, and you read the red and the white, and then if you need to, you read the green. And I'll show you how that works. It's Ronnie Acuna versus Jacob DeGrom. It's an 85, so that is anything over 50 is off the pitcher card, and 85 is going to be an out. The 8 tells you it is a fly ball center field. High skied to center, and right there's Conforto, one up, one down. Ozzie Albies, a 33, and that's going to be an out on Albies' card. 27-49 is an out. 33. Then it's a 5. So we look at the 5. It's a soft grounder, and Rosario charges, bare hands. It fires to first. Out. Oh, that was a close play by Ahmed Rosario, and hustling down the line. Ozzie Albies made it really, really close. Freddie Freeman, 2 outs. He's hit a home run today. It's going to be a 24, a 2, and a 4. And then the 0 is going to give us what type of an out. And, well, no, the 2-4 falls within the strikeout range, so that tells us it's a K. And that's the second time Freeman struck out, but sandwiched in between the home run. All right, so the bottom of the 7th. From this, I think that's the last thing that DeGrom can pitch, because that'll be 7 plus 3 will be his whole 10. And I went over that in part 2. So if you want to see how to calculate endurance, you can go to part 2 to do that. I'm not going to do that again. Thomas Nido against Mike Soroka. And it's an 86. 86 falls within Soroka's out range, 75-99. We look at the 4, the green, and that's a hard hit ground ball up the middle. Camargo gets there, spinorama, and in time to first base, 6-3. Nice play. And now it's DeGrom, and we're going to go into our bench. We're going to call on who are you going to call, right? Who are you going to call? Who's here? That's the thing. Who's here? Nimmo's not around. I maybe have the players who are around at the bottom of the deck. Oh, you know what? No, I didn't. Yeah. Sometimes I actually separate the guys that are still around. This time, Echevarria is still around, and he's going to come and pinch hit. Echevarria is going to pinch hit. And here goes. And that's an 82. And an 82 is off Soroka's card. A 9. And that's a shallow fly ball. Center field racing in is Acuna. Back in Camargo and Albies. And Acuna gets there, avoiding the collision. So Danny Echevarria makes out number 2. And now it's Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil's a heck of a hitter. He's batting somewhere 360 in our replay, but not this time. 94, a 9 and a 4. 94 is within Soroka's out range, plus the 5 tells us it's a hard hit ground ball at the second baseman Albies, and he whips it to Freeman, and that's out number 3. All right, we're going to need a new pitcher. I'm going to quickly look and see who the Mets used in this game. Mets used Wilmer Font, so we're going to use Wilmer Font, although it is a close game. So let me pull Gazelman. Let me grab Gazelman here. I saw him before somewhere. Robert Gazelman. All right. So this is where the game slows down. Like any modern game is going to slow down at this point a little bit because of all the pitching changes and the pinch hitters. All right, Josh Donaldson against Robert Gazelman. He's 73, and that's strike 3. So 1 up, 1 down. And it's Nick Markakis. It's a 15, and that's ball 4. That's, I think, the first walk of the game. That falls in within Markakis' 14-19 range. So he's on at first, not a threat to steal. Brian McCann, 0-6. 0-6 is going to be line base hit. That's a plus. He could try to go to automatic yet because because there's only one out. So Markakis is going to stop. I could try to get him to third. I don't want to do that. And Austin Riley, here's the pitch. A 65, and that's going to be a base on balls off Gazelman's card, 62 to 65. So Gazelman's in trouble right here. Very quickly, he got in trouble. We're going to pull Gazelman. And Font came in, and we're going to bring in Wilmer Font, see if Wilmer Font can do something a little bit better. So let's do that. Let's get Font in there. Make it realistic. Use a lot of pitchers. You got to use a lot of pitchers if you're going to make it realistic. So Font is in there now. Bases loaded. Mets are going to have to bring in with one out. They're down by 4-2. They don't want to allow them to score 48. We could get lucky here. Oh, it was almost a line drive. A 0 would have been a line drive, and that would have been an automatic base hit. But this is a slow grounder. And on this slow grounder, let's see what it says in the rules. It says the rules, playing the infield in, lineouts or single pluses. Slow and hard grounders result in the runner on third holding. All right. Oh, unless the bases are loaded. Wait a second. Bases are loaded. Unless, okay, then they forced at the plate. All right, so it's going to be a, what I said was, it was a 2 off Camargo, a 48. Wait a second. A 48 is an out, and then a 2 is a comebacker. I thought it was a slow something or other to somebody. I don't know where I looked. Hit it. Anyway, I know it wasn't an 8. I know it was a ground ball. So I think I must have hit it when I was moving my hand. I think it was a slow grounder to the third baseman. So he's going to go home for the force. He's out at home on the force out. Everybody else moves up a base. And now it's Mike Soroka. We're going to get a pinch hitter. Pinch hitter is going to be Culberson. He hasn't been hit in the face yet. He gets hit in the face, I think, the first week in December. So has not been hit in the face yet. So he's going to be able to pinch hit. And actually, in this game, I'm wondering if Culberson does pinch hit. He plays. He does not pinch hit. He plays left field. I like that type of guy. You know, I was a big fan of the Madden teams, the Tampa Bay teams in the early part of the 2000s. I really like guys who can play all those positions, and as a manager, you can do a lot there. Charlie Culberson, actually, oh, you know what? He's not going to pinch it because he's not very good against righties. He's a guy who kind of hits against. So we're going to bring in Matt Joyce. Matt Joyce is better for this situation, and I'll explain that. When there's a circle, that means he shouldn't face the guy who throws from the same angle because he's at a negative. Charlie Culberson would be at a disadvantage here. All right, so I won't use him in this situation. Now against a lefty, that's who you should use Culberson against. So he's your guy who hits lefties, and actually he batted like .330 versus lefties. I have him on one of my dynasty teams. So I'm looking for Matt Joyce now. There he is. Now Matt Joyce is a lefty specialist, okay, who basically it's mostly for pitchers, so you can use your lefty specialist pitchers. If I have a lefty specialist pitcher right now, I would bring him in to face Joyce, and then I would have an advantage. Okay, so I don't know if I could do that because did Wilmer Font just come in? No, Wilmer Font already pitched to a guy, so let me show you how that works. And the Mets, I believe, still have a lefty specialist named they have a guy named Zamora. I think Zamora is still in there, I believe. Oh, you know what? I think they also have Hector Santiago. Let me see if they bring Gazelman. Nagasek is a righty. So let me go to next game. Let me see who their lefty specialist is. So that means a guy that has a circle around his throwing side. And that means that he's a specialist. So they have Chris Mazza. Let's see. Mazza, Lugo, and Pounder. Still haven't found the lefty that they have in the bullpen to use in this situation. Let me go to game 3 of this 3-game set. See if the Mets show their lefty. Let's see. Again, I still don't see a lefty specialist. And I think there was a time the Mets didn't have a lefty specialist in the bullpen. I'm going to go to the next series against the Yankees, see if the Mets show a lefty specialist. And again, it's Wilson. They do have Justin Wilson. Okay, he's their specialist, and I know that from memory. So he hasn't been around in a while. I haven't seen him pitch in about a month and a half. So he's probably been on the injured list. He's back off the injured list, and he's going to pitch in this game just so I can show you how to use the lefty specialist. Now I got a roll. I missed a bunch of rolls for a wild pitch. There's no ones. I'll do one more. All right, no ones. Keep on forgetting that. Justin Wilson. Oh, but he is not. Oh, no advantage. Okay, so when you bring in a lefty against a guy who shouldn't be batting against a lefty, the lefty gets an advantage. Okay, whether he's a lefty specialist or he's not a lefty specialist. If this guy has a circle, that means he shouldn't hit lefties. So what does that mean? Well, that's it. Justin Wilson is in there, right? Mets can't make any more changes until Justin Wilson faces a batter. So what do I have to do now? You're probably thinking, oh my God, I don't have to do it, right? I could just leave it the way it is. But this is they're late in the games now. The Braves are going to call on a righty, and that's going to eliminate the disadvantage that Matt Joyce has. Okay, because I'm going to call in a righty, and the Mets can't do anything about it at this point because that's it. They've already they had a pitcher who came in, faced one batter, and now the Braves are going to bring in a righty hitter, which is going to be Charlie Culberson. So now Culberson gets his opportunity. There you go. That's the game that we play. So the first batter is Joyce, but Joyce is going to be called back. And then the next batter is going to be Culberson, Charlie Culberson. And now we're straight up. All right, so we're going to roll again. The bases are loaded for a 1. No 1, it's a 19. Here's the pitch from Justin Wilson against the righty. The infield is back now. It's a 31 and a 0. 31 is a strikeout. There you go. So there was a lot to do there, but that's the way I played. I try to use the strategy, right? I try to use the strategies that the game offers you. Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is leading it off against a new pitcher, and the new pitcher is going to be blah, blah, blah. Who's the new pitcher? Sean Newcomb. Let's bring in Sean Newcomb. Usually I separate all the relief pitchers that played in the series. I don't know why I didn't bother to do it this time. It makes it much quicker. Sean Newcomb is a lefty, so we're going to hold on Sean Newcomb. Who else do we have? Chad Sabatka. Chad Sabatka. Also, we have another lefty in Blevins. So let's look for Chad Sabatka. All right, so let's see if we find him in here. Oh boy, Chad Sabatka. Now you get every single player that played in the major leagues when you buy the deep drive set. I'm in the mood to play 1971, so I'm going to get another deep drive set so I can play 1971. Now I can't find Sabatka. That's what happens when you get a ton of cards. So I'm looking for Sabatka. I will eventually find him somewhere. He's probably in this deck right here, hiding somewhere. Now you do have to go in if a player was traded late in the season. There he is, Chad Sabatka. So Sabatka is going to pitch. He's a righty. He's going to face Pete Alonso. That took a little while, but that's the nature of the beast. Towards the end of the game, it's going to take a little while to play these. So you got to accept that. If you're playing modern, baseball, if not, if you're playing 80s or 70s or 60s, everybody's going game or they're going to like the 8th inning at least. All right, so Sabatka versus Pete Alonso. Here's the pitch. That's a 93. That's off Sabatka. A 2 is a hard hit grounder right back at Sabatka. He feels it and throws over to first, and that's 1 away. So Pete Alonso's angry at himself, swung at the first pitch. Robbie Cano, 91. 91, and that's going to be defense. So we're going to roll again, see what happens. At 27, that's going to be anything lower than a 41 is an error, and that's going to be an automatic error. A little number in front of the plate. Brian McCann, plenty of time. Oh, he throws high, and it off of Freeman's glove. It rolls to Albies, and safe at first is Robbie Cano. E2 flashes on the scoreboard. E2. So that's how that works. Look how quickly that is. That is not. That's just once you played, a certain number of games, everything becomes second nature, and you know exactly where everything is. So it's not me ignoring the rules. So this game plays super fast. I've played 80 games, and as you can see, it plays super duper fast. So Robbie Cano is on. There's one out. That's the tying run is at the plate, and Michael Conforto. And we're going to bring, we should have brought in a lefty. Plus, we got to roll for a wild pitch. Oh, it's a 1. So it is potentially a wild pitch there. So let's bring in our lefty. We'll bring in Jerry Blevins. Blevins will come in. He pitched in this game. And he would have had an advantage had we brought in Blevins. We're going to back up. Oh, actually, he wouldn't have had the advantage because we rolled an error. Okay, so that works out perfect. So we're going to back up, and we're going to bring in Jerry Blevins when we should have against Robbie Cano with one out. And Blevins is going to come in. Let's see if we got Blevins written in there. No, we don't. So we're going to have to write them in. I'm using iScore. Now, if you want to learn how to use iScore, I have a couple tutorials, 1, 2, and 3, on how to use iScore. 3 is when you start. So maybe the starting video should have been named 1, but it's named 3. So it's going to be Jerry Blevins is coming in. He's a lefty, throws left. All right, so Blevins is coming in. To replace Sabatka against Cano, and Cano is going to fly. It was an error on the catcher, an E2, so he's going to make it to first. So that's going to be an E2. Cano's on at first, and now it's Michael Conforto. And that's when Blevins is in there to face Conforto as well, because there's a couple of lefties coming up. But we rolled a wild pitch, so let's look at that. That's on your fielding chart. There's only 2 charts, and they're very easy to read. Now, would I like them to be larger? Of course, because I don't have good eyesight, but that's not the designer's problem. I guess I could work on making the chart bigger and go to Office Depot and do that. All right, so we're going to roll 2d6. 40. A 40 says pitcher wild pitch rating C, D, or F is a wild pitch. Let's see what Blevins is. C, D, or F. He's an F, so that ball is spiked into the ground. It skids past McCann all the way to the backstop. Going to second base is Robbie Cano on the wild pitch by Jerry Blevins. How cool is that? We saw a wild pitch in this game. All right, so Michael Conforto with 1 out, 1 on. And he is the tying run. So if Michael Conforto gets a hold of one in the deep drive section right here, this game could be tied at 4 apiece. Here's the pitch, and it's a 97. Oh, too bad. That's an out on Jerry Blevins' card. And a 3, it's going to be a ground ball, medium ground ball to Josh Donaldson. Looks Robbie Cano back to second. Fires the first now, and an out is registered. That's the second out of the inning, and now it's Todd Father Frazier. Now here is where we can bring in. Do we have to bring in a righty? Not really. He doesn't get an advantage over the pitcher. Okay, that's now. If he were a righty specialist, he would get an advantage over the lefty specialist pitcher. So this how can I say, mod is mostly to help the lefty pitcher. So if you have lefty pitchers, you bring them in to face that one batter. So let's see who the Braves are using. Are they using Luke Jackson, the righty, as a closer? Because if they are, that's the right guy to bring in right now. I don't know that they are. So let me check the Julio Teheran, Blevins, Toussaint, Newcomb, and Webb, and they are using Luke Jackson. So this would be a 4-out save for Luke Jackson, and he's a young guy, so I think he can handle that. So we're going to bring in the righty, even though it doesn't do anything. But I just don't want. Let's see who's batting next. Oh, there's a lefty next. You know what? I'm going to leave Blevins in there because the next batter is lefty, and just in case, and that'll force the Mets to use another pinch hitter. All right, so here goes. Todd Frazier versus Jerry Blevins, runner on second. So Frazier is the tying run. If he connects here, the game is tied at 4. It's 4-2. Oh, no, too bad. A 0-7 is going to be a single plus. Robbie Cano has become a fast, and that's going to score Robbie Cano easily. Let me check that. Let me show you how you can see that. You see Robbie Cano is blank, but a single plus, with 2 outs, he becomes an F. There are 2 outs. So automatically with 2 outs, it says it right here, shift 1 to the right. So he becomes an F, and he scores on the single plus. And that's because Todd Frazier drove in a bunch of runs in 19. So he's going to be able to have that plus, and that plus happens to be off of Frazier. Okay, so that's 4-3 now, and it's Dom Smith, and this is where we're going to bring in a pinch hitter, a righty, and then of course, Mets are going to call on J.D. Davis. I mean, he's got good power as well. He hit 22 home runs in about 40 at bats. So that's about proportionally, if he had played the whole season, that would be about a 30 home run guy, which is decent. So we're going to bring in J.D. Davis. Right? J.D. Davis is coming in, and he's going to play the position that Dom Smith was playing. I think it was left field. So J.D. Davis is in there. Blevins is going to get replaced. And Blevins is going to get replaced. And we're going to bring in Webb. Again, this is modern baseball, so you got to make all these changes if you want your box score to look the way it should. Now, what I plan to do is replay the 2019 season again because I'm not going to have a 2020 season. And what did I just find? Look at that. I just found a righty specialist, but I don't know. He's not available. I don't see him. Darren O'Day. He's a righty specialist. That would be great for the Braves. I would give him a 50-point advantage. But Darren O'Day is not pitching. Toussaint is pitching. I could bring in Toussaint, but I'm really looking for Webb. Toussaint is another righty. All right, let's look at the beginning for this. Newcomb is a lefty. Let's find Webb. Toussaint is right there, so I can bring in Toussaint. He pitched in one of these games. I don't pick the best guy. I kind of try to go with the names that are there because when you pick the best guy, you don't really know that they were the best guy because remember, I'm looking at with the stats now. At that time, the manager's saying, oh, this guy's going to do great for me. He just needs an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see Webb. Oh, Jack Webb. There he is. Okay. Jacob Webb. Jacob Webb is coming in to face the right-hander J.D. Davis. So the only way you can play a realistic 2019 game is by having all the players. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck for players, and you're not going to have the right guys at the right time because some of these guys go on the disabled list. So we're going to add Jacob Webb. I don't have him in the roster. I've played Atlanta a few times, but I probably never used him because he was not on the roster. That's why I didn't see him on the box score. But he's there now. He's going to be facing J.D. Davis. So J.D. Davis, again, really good power. And here's the pitch. The runner on first, 4-3. And that's a 27. That's a strikeout. So Davis down swinging, and that retires the side. So Jacob Webb does his job. All right. So that was exciting. J.D. Davis is in left field now. And it's going to be Ronnie Acuna. Ronnie Acuna versus he's a righty. Let's see what we got. Then, you know what? We're going to leave in Justin Wilson because we want him to face Freddie Freeman, which is really the best possible batter. That's a 54. That's going to be a ground ball and through the left side. So on with a leadoff single is Acuna. Acuna is a 3+ base stealer. That's a +1 for Wilson and a +1 throwing for for Nido, that's going to take us to the stolen base chart. And the stolen base chart at a 5, right? He's a 3A. A 5A is going to be 0 to 41% chance of stealing a base. Let's see what happens. 41. Oh my God. So there he goes. And the throw down, not in time. Stolen base for Ronnie Acuna Jr. So it's Albies. And we're also gonna roll this a couple times for wild pitch. Nope. All right, here's the pitch from Justin Wilson to Ozzie Albies batting righty. That's a 72. A 72 is going to be a strikeout. So Albies down swinging. 1 out. Next is Freddie Freeman. This is the guy we want him to face, even though he's not getting an advantage. Because Freddie Freeman is not a circle. He can hold his own versus lefties. So that's going to be a 0-6, and that's going to be line base hit. That's going to score the very fast Acuna easily because it's a single plus. That ball is pulled down the line, and McNeil cuts it off quickly. A big turn. Freddie Freeman takes a big turn. Around to score is Acuna, and he heads back to first base with a single. So that's a 5-3 ball game now. And the righty, it's going to be righty Donaldson, then another lefty. So we're leaving Wilson in there. Here's a pitch. It's a 47. That's an out range. You look at the 7. That's a deep fly ball left field. Back is J.D. Davis. Makes the catch, gets it in quickly. Nick Markakis. A 0-4, and that's a deep drive. Uh-oh, this could put it out of reach here. If he connects here, that's 2 more runs. It'll make 7-3, and that's a 13. A 13 is going to be a 0 to 18 is park effect because it's got the little star there. 0 to 18, which is his whole home run. He's not a big home run hitter. That's when that happens is because the guy doesn't hit. He only hit 9 home runs in the whole season. So I'm going to have to look at the ballpark. Ballpark is 6. That's the green one. The ballpark is right there. 6 is a deep fly ball center field. Back goes Conforto to the wall, makes the catch, and that retires the side. So he hit it deep, but didn't have the carry. And that's how you play that deep drive chart, right? All right, so Ahmed Rosario against Jacob Webb. We're going to bring in Luke Jackson for the potential save. So he's their closer, so I have him written in here. I just have to track him down. There he is, Luke Jackson. So Luke Jackson is in there against Ahmed Rosario, who batted 287, so he can hold his own with the bat. Had some struggles with the glove early on, but caught up towards the second half of the season. All right, so here's the pitch to Ahmed Rosario. That's an 82, and that's going to be a K. So Ahmed fans, 1 out. Thomas Nido. Here's the pitch to Thomas Nido, 0-4, and that's line base hit to left field. So that's going to allow the tying run to come up to the plate in the form of, I don't even know who the Mets have anymore. I've used a couple of pinch hitters. One more time, let me go and see who they have to pinch hit here in this game. They got Echeverria. They got Gomez is still around. Okay, Carlos Gomez is going to pinch hit. There he comes with a bat. Oh, you know what? I have Wilson Ramos, and that's the guy because he's a good hitter. He batted about 288 or something to that effect. So Gomez is there. Wilson Ramos is going to be called in to pinch hit. And we're not going to pinch run because we don't have that many extra players. So, and that run doesn't really count any that much anyway because we need 2 runs here in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out. It's going to be Wilson Ramos. And let's see. Let's find Ramos. Oh, there he is. All right, Wilson Ramos against Luke Jackson. We roll the D20 for the wild pitch. And that's going to be a 68. 68 is on Luke Jackson's card, and that's a strikeout. So Ramos down swinging. Second strikeout of the inning for Luke Jackson. Luke Jackson had a 3.84 ERA in 70 games with 18 saves. So he's potentially a guy that the Mets can get to. Jeff McNeil, the Mets' best hitter. So let's see what happens. And that's an 85. That's going to be an outrange. Strike three, and he strikes out the side. Luke Jackson comes up huge for the Braves, gets the save. The Braves win it by a score of 5-3 here at Citi Field. And the line scores Atlanta 5 runs, 14 hits, 2 errors, 9 left on base. The Mets 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 7 left on base. And DeGrom is going to take a loss here. Jacob DeGrom gets the loss. And he wasn't as sharp as he normally is. Gave up a couple of home runs, fell behind early. The win is going to go to Sir, I believe. Yep. Mets never led here. The game wasn't even tied. They never were able to tie the game. A save is going to go to Luke Jackson. And I'm going to email myself this. Oh, wait. Did I get Luke Jackson's save? No. Luke Jackson gets a save. And I'm going to email myself. There we go. And the box score. And that's it for CP Cards and Dice tutorial on, and you saw a lot. You saw a stolen base. You saw a player thrown out at the plate. So that's what you're going to get with the deep drive baseball. You saw a bunch of range plays. You saw a couple of errors. You saw an error by the catcher on a little nubber in front of the plate. You heard me making some strategy decisions. You saw a lot of pinch hitters. You saw a bunch of pitching changes towards the end. Most games require that. Modern games, if you play games in the 70s or the 80s, you don't have to do a lot of that because guys just pitched, but nowadays you're going to have to do that. And just remember, this is your home for tutorials and strategy, player profiles, history reviews, news, tips, tops, baseball cards, rants, unboxing, chats, book reviews, and so forth. And I will see you guys soon. So long. Let's go Mets.